Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Ravi's Husker Recap. Nebraska coming off a big win against Fordham. That does feel a little weird to say, but honestly, after about the first quarter and a half, I was way more nervous than I ever thought I would be against a team like Fordham. Nebraska was able to pull away at the end of the first half, obviously, and then kept their foot on the pedal through the second half. It's just some takeaways. Number one, I thought the play calling after the first quarter and a half was actually really, really good. They had way more of an emphasis on the running game. And listen, I'm not run the ball guy at my core, right? Like, that's not something where I think Nebraska can only win running the football and they can't have these fancy offenses or whatever. That's not me. I'm not trying to bring back the, 3 yards in a cloud of dust or 70 rushes a game or anything like that. But for the way this team is built, and with the defense being pretty solid, and then you've got some options at running back, I think we saw Marquise Stepp kind of take control of the job today. We've been waiting for somebody to kind of take control over the last couple of years, really, to be that feature back. I think Marquise Stepp maybe did that today, which is really encouraging. But also, they used the running game to set up passing for Adrian Martinez, and Adrian looked way better after they started doing that. That first drive of the game made me so angry I can't even describe it. All the swing passes, and I believe there's only one, maybe two running back handoffs in that sequence of plays. It drove me crazy because that's the same type of stuff we've seen from Nebraska the last few years, where they just don't put their players in good positions to succeed. They're asking Adrian to do too much, and they're asking him to go through these progressions that I don't think is his strong suit. And so I just don't think he's that comfortable doing it. So after that first drive, I was really frustrated and frankly pretty concerned if they were going to call the entire game that way. And then when it was 10-7 and things got a little dicey, they really leaned all the way into downhill power running and then using that to set up the pass. You saw Adrian look a lot more comfortable in the passing game. And frankly, I think they need to kind of maybe limit's not the right word, but at least change a little bit the things they ask Adrian to do in the passing game. I think it needs to be a 1 or 2 read and go type of situation for him instead of asking him to progress through 4 or 5 reads in the passing game. I think it's 1 or 2 reads and then give him a chance to take off and run, because he seems way more comfortable doing that. And when you ask him to go through 4 or 5 progressions, it seems like he doesn't take off and run even when he's got the lanes or the ability to do it. So I liked what they showed offensively, especially after the first quarter and a half. I thought that was really encouraging. Defensively, I thought they did a really good job adjusting. In that first half, Fordham really kind of moved the ball at will. They got all the way down inside the 20 and probably would have scored the first touchdown of the game if not for a tipped pass that led to the JoJo Doman interception. And even after that, they score the touchdown, and then they get into field goal position again. Obviously, Nebraska blocked that, and it didn't end up being an issue, but I was really a little concerned about Fordham continuing to be able to move the ball. The second half adjustments were way better for Nebraska defensively. I thought they did a really good job of kind of putting the clamps on Fordham. Their quarterback, DeMorat, was really kind of getting whatever he wanted in the first half. Second half, that wasn't the case, and I thought the Nebraska defense looked a lot better in the second half. Obviously, they were able to get some turnovers, which is really encouraging as well, and I was really pleased with that. The other thing that I take away from this, which, listen, it's Fordham. It's an FCS game. It's not that, you can't take that much away from it. I was really glad we got to see some of the depth for Nebraska. Jacquez Yant, I thought, looked good in his carries. Sevion Morrison, Marvin Scott all got some carries as well. We got to see Logan Smothers on the field for the first time, and I thought he looked pretty good. He's got really good burst, really quick around that edge. And honestly, when he threw the ball, I thought he looked pretty good. He put that almost touchdown pass to Alante Brown in the corner. I thought that was in a really good spot. That was a pretty small window, and he dropped it right in there. That second defender came in and knocked Alante Brown out of bounds. Otherwise, I think that's a touchdown. I think he gets that foot down. Really good ball placement by Logan Smothers there. I think he had one that I didn't love where it went. A couple other ones were dropped that were very catchable passes, but overall, he looked better as a passer than some people have led us to believe in terms of the rumors and stuff coming out of practice and camp. So I was really excited to see Logan Smothers. Got to see that second unit on defense and on the offensive line. Just really good to get some guys out there, get some reps. So that was encouraging as well. And that's kind of the point of this Fordham game, right? You have to get yourself to a point where you can get second units in and get guys some reps that normally wouldn't play. So that was really encouraging. Last but not least, you got Buffalo coming up next week. And listen, Buffalo beat Wagner 69-7. I don't know what that means. I don't know what Wagner is, right? It's probably similar to a Fordham situation, I'd guess. Frankly, I don't pay attention enough to small school football like that to be able to be like, well, a 69-7 to win over Wagner is equal to this X number of win against Fordham. Listen, I don't get into it that deep, and that's a dangerous game to play in terms of trying to use the transitive property score comparisons to try and figure things out anyway. I think Buffalo is a solid football team. ESPN projected them to be in a bowl when they did their way too early bowl projections last week. I think Buffalo is going to be a solid football team. It's probably a good step up in competition from Fordham, obviously, but not too big of a leap where you have to play two really tough games in a row going Buffalo, Oklahoma. Hopefully, Nebraska takes some of the lessons they learned in terms of play calling and playing to their athletes' strengths, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, and they're able to apply those against Buffalo, get a little bit more comfortable against better competition, and then try and go down to Norman and see what they can do against Oklahoma in 2 weeks. But I was very encouraged today. After the first quarter and a half, it felt really dicey, but Nebraska was able to make some adjustments and get it done. Still some sloppiness. Special teams is really concerning, especially those punt returns. I don't know what's happening there. That's really concerning with what's going on with Cam Taylor-Britt, and then Brandon Belt fumbled one as well. You don't feel good about that, but they cleaned up the penalties, which is good. After that initial fumble, the first team unit didn't have any issues with turnovers, so that's quality as well. But Nebraska is going to have to play cleaner, obviously, against Buffalo and then against Oklahoma for sure. So overall, they got exactly what they needed to out of this Fordham game. It felt a little dicey for the first 20 minutes, but they were able to make some corrections and get it done. That does it for the Ravi Lula recap this week. We will see you again after Buffalo.